Do you recall talking to Karen Fay? First of all, you know who Karen Fay is, correct?
I do.
Who was Karen Fay?
Michael's hair and makeup artist.
And she was the hair and makeup artist on the This Is It rehearsal?
Yes.
Do you recall telling Karen Fay that you read Michael Jackson, well, let me finish, you might remember it, that you read Michael Jackson, The Riot Act?
No.
Do you remember telling Karen Fay directing Karen Fay not to placate Michael Jackson?
I remember Karen Fay being there on the night of the 20th and being as concerned as I was and everyone else that was in that small circle. I remember seeing Karen Fay coming back on the Tuesday.
Non-responsive.
Sustain. The answer, sir. Disregard the answer. Refine the question, please.
Let me ask you again, Mr. Ortega.
Yeah.
Did you tell Karen Fay not to placate Michael Jackson?
I would never have used that word, sir.
Well, did you tell her not to placate Michael Jackson and used a different word?
I might have told Karen Fay that Michael told me he was taking the reins and that he could use our support.
So the answer is no, you didn't tell her that.
That's right.
Right?
Yes.
Would you agree with me that your success was somewhat tied to Michael Jackson's success and This Is It?
Don't understand the question.
Well, if This Is It was a successful show, that would certainly reflect upon you as well as Michael Jackson.
Yes.
So when you talk about Michael Jackson having a desire to complete This Is It, to do This Is It, you also had that same desire.
Sure.
And would you agree with me that without Michael Jackson showing up to rehearsals, that would impact you personally as well as Michael Jackson individual?
It would impact everyone.
Including you.
It would make it impossible for me to do my job.
And that was important to you doing your job.
That's what I was there for.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
You talked about Michael Jackson being involved in the production of This Is It. Is that correct?
Yes.
And he was not just involved, he was very involved in the production, correct?
Yes.
He wasn't just co-choreographer or co-director in name only. It wasn't an honorary title, right?
No.
He was intimately involved in the decision-making.
Yes.
In fact, you mentioned a particular, was it a 3D effect that he himself had come up with? Is that right? It was
Yes.
his idea.
I don't know if it was his idea, but it came to me from Michael.
But you had never even seen it used before in a stage show.
No.
That was his idea. Would it be fair to say that he was involved?
I don't know if that's a question or a comment.
Thank you. Would it be fair to say that Michael Jackson was involved in all of the effects that were involved in the show?
Are you talking about 3D effects?
No, did he have a hand in all of the effects, the
he wa-
ideas?
Yes, absolutely.
Certainly the choreography,
Yes.
the songs.
Yes.
He was the boss.
Yes.
It was his show.
Yes.
And he told you that this was his time. This was it for him. Is that right?
Yes.
And what you understood him to mean by that is he understood the historical significance of what he was about to do.
Yes.
You had mentioned that at the conclusion of these shows, that Michael Jackson was planning movies. Is that
Yes.
right? And at the conclusion of these shows, he was also, you had discussed with him, taking the show on the road, taking it on tour.
He had talked about it, yes.
That was something you had talked about.
He talked to me about it.
That was his plan?
Yes, it's hope.
Okay. On the June 19th rehearsal, would it be fair to say that Michael Jackson's condition scares you?
Yes.
Had you ever seen him that way before?
No.
On any occasion during the rehearsals for This Is It, did it ever strike you that Michael Jackson might have been on drugs? Might have been drugged?
Yes.
Had you ever met or personally known a man by the name of Dr. Arnold Klein?
No. Didn't know and knew who he was, but didn't know him.
How did you know who he was?
Just knew him as a doctor.
You had been introduced to him?
No.
You had heard about him?
Yes.
Can you tell us where you had heard about him?
Staying 350, 352.
When you first met Dr. Murray, you said that it was at Michael Jackson's residence. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you said that you had seen him at a rehearsal. At the Forum
Dr. Murray at a rehearsal?
Yes.
I believe, yes, once.
Once. You did not, you testified you did not believe you saw him at the Staples Center at all,
I don't recall.
but you do remember once at the Forum.
Yes.
Did you have any conversation with Dr. Murray?
Yes, I did.
All right. And did you initiate that conversation?
I was invited to call on Dr. Murray if I ever needed any assistance, if there was any ever problems with the schedule.
And he seemed concerned about Michael Jackson? did he?
Yes.
And did you take him up on that invitation?
Yes.
Did you take his phone number?
Yes.
Dr. Murray at some point made suggestions. Were you part of the meeting where Dr. Murray made suggestions about Michael Jackson's schedule?
He brought those suggestions to me.
And you recall that one of the suggestions that he made is that Michael Jackson should be permitted to have lunch with his children. He should be able to stay home for lunch. And
Yes.
the rehearsals then, at that time, were much earlier than they ultimately wound up being.
No.
Do you recall any conversation with Dr. Murray about the diet that Michael Jackson was on, the foods that he was eating, his particular...
I don't recall a conversation about that, sir.
Tell us, you had said that the rehearsals went from Burbank, center stage, to the Forum. And I don't think I heard exactly when you said that move happened. Can you tell us when exactly it went to the Forum?
At the beginning of June,
Beginning of June. In May, the rehearsals were still at the center stages
Yes.
at Burbank. And you told us that at center stages that you and Michael Jackson had creative meetings, and I guess you talked about what you were going to have in the show and things of that nature.
oh, yes.
Was that through May and through April?
Yes, beginning in April and through May.
And as you moved to the Forum, then would it be fair to say that the rehearsals became a little more active? There was rehearsals on stage?
Yes.
With Michael Jackson and the
More
dancers?
people were incorporated into the body of rehearsals at that time.
And when you moved to the Staples Center, even more things were incorporated into the show, like effects, magic acts, things like that?
Yes, yes.
I want to bring your attention to the week prior to Michael Jackson's death, and I'm going to tell you that Monday on that week was June 15th. Now, is that how you remember it? Do you know?
I don't remember that Monday was June 15th, but...
Okay. That week of June 14th, June 15th, 2009, the rehearsals were scheduled at the Staples Center. Is that correct?
We weren't, I don't believe we were at the Staples Center yet, sir. We were at the the forum,
Still,
yes.
well, June 15th through June 19th would be Monday through Friday. When did you move to the Staples
I
Center?
think we moved to the Staples Center like the Tuesday or the Monday or over that weekend.
So,
I'm guessing that because we were going to be at the Staples Center just for 2 weeks, and we were at the Forum for a longer period of time.
well, the following Tuesday would be the 23rd or 22nd of June. You're saying that the week that Michael Jackson